Say the words Orient Express, and evocative images of opulent carriages, glamorous passengers, and thrilling destinations come to mind, along with the excitement and romance of train travel.
Look at it, it really is like an Agatha Christie film, isn't it?
I'm Jonathan Phang, a self-confessed bon viveur
Oi!
with a passion for gastronomy.
Absolutely spectacular.
And in this series, inspired by the allure of this golden age, I'm going on a gourmet journey, crossing continents aboard some of the world's most elegant trains. Along the way, I'll be stopping off in some extraordinary culinary destinations.
Cheers, thank you.
Exploring places with connections to the trains. And testing the old adage, is it better to travel than to arrive? Coming up, all aboard the Venice Simplon Orient Express.
Oh!
There's a Schnitzel challenge to be attempted in Vienna.
Your technique is quite good.
My technique is quite good. Did you hear that? Schnitzel boy is telling me that my technique is quite good.
I get to try the most luxurious cabbage dish in the world.
How big must the lobster have been to have a claw that size?
And I make a lunch inspired by blood-sucking leeches.
It's a bit sort of jelly-ish and a bit sort of like a chocolate mousse in a way.
My journey starts in Budapest, Hungary. From there, I'll be making a 303-kilometer journey to Vienna in Austria. But first, Budapest. Since 1888, this city has been a stop-off on the train's original journey between Istanbul and Paris. And when I think of food from this region, I think goose fat, pork fat, and hearty rustic goulashes for freezing winters on the great Hungarian plain. I've come to Budapest Central Market, a rather wonderful neo-Gothic building, to meet TV chef Sophie Mortener,
How are you doing?
Very well.
who's promised to give me the insider knowledge of the food scene here.
I don't want to know anything about goose fat or pork
Okay,
fat.
so I see you spend too much time maybe in Hungarian
No, I mean,
kitchens.
I'm the size of a house. If I stayed here, I'd probably be the size of a car park.
This market has been providing for hungry Budapestians since 1897, and Sophie knows all the best-kept secrets for shopping here.
Tell you a secret.
Yeah.
So if we walk
Yeah.
down to the market, then the right side is actually, is the more expensive
I
side,
see.
is the touristy side,
Yeah.
and the left side, that's for the locals.
So
I
left
buy
for the
normally.
locals, right for the tourists. So if I had a
Exactly.
stall, would I be paying a higher rent on the right?
Probably
because
yes.
my prices would be higher.
Probably yes. Yeah.
We're going to be cooking together later, so we need some ingredients. First thing to catch my eye, these Hungarian truffles.
So how much is this? 1,900 euro per kilo. Is that all? Maybe I'll just get the oil instead, because it's quite pungent, isn't it?
The signature Hungarian ingredient is, of course, paprika, though who knew it only became popular here in the late 19th century. And until they found a sweet variety in the 1920s, there was only one type, hot.
Actually, you really have to taste, how
Can
it
I
is
taste?
sweet. Megkóstolhatjuk? If it's sweet, if it's oily enough, if it's, it's nice. Bitter?
Not bitter at all. So when it's lighter, it's spicy because the seeds are ground up as well. So it's going to be a lot spicier than the redder one, which is a bit sweeter.
This is for cooking. Tápásztakohama.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah?
I would probably be inclined to use both in a dish because that is really spicy. I'm getting hotter by the second, actually. But if you combine the two,
Yeah.
I think it'd be...
The storeholder here doesn't just sell paprika, he's also renowned for his plum jam.
Wow. Did you make it?
Te csináltad? My mom.
Your mum made it?
Yes.
Delicious. Tell your mother she's fantastic.
Moving on, it doesn't take us long to find that other well-known Hungarian speciality.
Pork fat,
If you
my
want
favourite
to
thing.
taste it, it's called mangalitsa.
This is the one that allegedly has no cholesterol.
Of course. Kakosarat szerintem elviszük. You know, it's basically, it's really fat. And you know how people eat this? You would eat it with bread and red onions.
I'm on the verge of becoming vegetarian, so for
Well,
God's
then
sake,
you're in trouble, to be
show
honest.
me a fruit and vegetable.
You know what this is?
No.
It's pickled baby watermelon.
That's a little watermelon?
Yes.
So that grows up to be a big watermelon?
This one is honeydew.
A little honeydew?
Yes.
Isn't that cute? What's this? A little
It's a
paprika. Spicy.
Nagyon csípős.
Careful, be careful.
Csípős, nem?
I've just got a mouthful of seeds.
Jaj,
I
tisztelem
better
a
have a
magok.
bit of honeydew.
Sophie picks up a few final ingredients for the dish we'll be cooking later. Which leaves me just enough time to go on the search for a uniquely Hungarian tipple, which I intend to present to the head barman of the train when I meet him tomorrow.
I've got something up my sleeve which may just blow his head off a bit. It's called Unicom and it's a national drink here. Now, is this the real McCoy, the real strong one? Yeah. Or does it come stronger? Okay, so, yeah, there you go. Only 40% volume. So this is the real McCoy. It's good for a hangover, I hear. Thank you very much. Okay, bye.
It's a short hop across town to Sophie's kitchen, where she's promised to cook with me something traditional but modern. But not before I'm roped into recording a piece for her television show in Hungarian.
Tejföl.
Yeah, I love sour
Tejföl.
cream.
Say it.
Tejföl,
Perfect. Édes.
édes,
Cuki.
zuki,
Cuki.
édes zuki.
Cuki.
Say it again.
Cuki.
Suki, édes zuki.
Zucchi.
Suki, zuki.
You're saying zucchi.
And what do you think?
Zucchi.
Suki,
Perfect.
suki.
And in case you're wondering, that means Sophie finds me as tasty as sour cream and cute with it.
Sophie, I am very happy because I can't see any meat in your list of ingredients here.
You see, Hungarian food isn't all about just the meat. Because you can even make a goulash
Yeah.
with mushrooms or vegetables or fish, so you can make it a little bit lighter.
A little bit lighter.
Yeah. So you have some oil, and then you need to soften the onions.
Right.
A lot of onions. That's one of the secrets of a good goulash.
The onions are sweated in a splash of olive oil, whilst I chop up the mushrooms.
And these are just like chestnut mushrooms, aren't
Yes,
they? Just
yes,
easy to get
exactly.
hold of.
But you can use, you know, in Hungary we have really nice forest mushrooms, porcini, whatever. So you could use, you know, in
A
Venice
medley.
season.
You could use a medley of
Exactly,
mushrooms.
that was the word I was looking
Or
for.
a
So you
trio.
could really use a medley of fantastic forest mushrooms.
And what are you going to serve this with?
I'm gonna serve it with an absolutely traditional thing, which is little dumplings.
Well, I'm excited to taste the real traditional Hungarian goulash. So I'm glad you're not making pasta. I want to try the dumplings.
So now comes the really big secret of a perfect goulash.
Okay, guys.
Because, yeah, take care, because you have to take off the pan
Right.
from the heat,
Okay.
and you put the paprika always off, because otherwise the paprika would get bitter from the sudden heat.
Oh, I see. So you want it cooked through but not
Yes.
burnt.
The onions and paprika are then mixed together with the mushrooms and a splash of water.
There are three secrets of a good goulash.
Okay.
One is the paprika, of course,
Yeah.
which we already mentioned. And the two, one is all the ingredients which you add, and the third is all the ingredients which you don't add. And tomatoes belong to that. I never add canned tomatoes to goulash. You never add beef stock to goulash. You never add flour to goulash, and you never add butter, for example. These are all ingredients which I almost always see in like recipes.
Dollop of sour cream and a handful of flat leaf parsley, and it's time to check the seasoning.
Absolutely delicious. Nothing wrong with that at all. But also the mushrooms are really flavourful because they're nice and fresh, aren't they? When you've got such fresh ingredients, you really don't need to muck about with them much. You just cook it, leave it.
A simple mixture of flour, egg and water, and we're ready to make Sophie's rustic dumplings.
Well, that's why I make the very traditional way like my grandma used to make. And you know, you just take a chopping board, you put the dough on it, you have boiling water, and then you have a spoon.
Yes.
And then you simply, you know, start to quickly put the dough like this.
Oh, can I have a go?
Yes.
Let me see if I can do it. It was quite small and dainty. I thought they were going to be really big.
Oh, yeah, it grows, you know, in the water.
Am I doing okay?
Yes.
3 minutes in boiling water and the dumplings are cooked to perfection. And there we have it, Sophie's beautifully simple yet authentic mushroom goulash.
Looks too good to eat.
You like it?
Come on, let's dig in together.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm going to have to have another bit. Dumplings are very light and fluffy, like little pillows. Very nice. Sophie, thank you so much for sharing the secrets. The secrets are just keep it simple and make sure the ingredients are authentic.
Exactly.
I'm coming to the end of my first day here in Budapest, and as the sun goes down, what better way to burn a few calories than to visit one of the city's famous outdoor thermal baths.
Hanging out naked in a unisex thermal bath is really not my idea of fun. But when in Rome, do as the Hungarians do, and I'm here at this amazing old spa to give it my best shot and see if I like it. So I'll let you know later.
These baths are a national institution, and I can understand why. Locals like to meet up, play a game of chess, and get to know the neighbours a little bit better.
You know, I am really glad that I came here. I was a bit shy and dubious to begin with because it is like sharing a bath with 200 strangers, but the water is really warm and lovely. And what a perfect way to end the day, just floating around underneath the stars. And I really need to burn some calories off after what I've eaten today. So I'm going to go for a swim and hope that I sleep well tonight.
Coming through. I'm up early, heading off the tourist beaten track to a neighbourhood restaurant I've heard great things about. Bock Bistro has been voted the Michelin inspector's favourite establishment for 3 years in a row. So if it's good enough for them...
Hi there, I'm Jonathan. Chef Leos, lovely to meet you.
Today, Chef Leos Biros has offered to teach me how to cook one of his more unusual dishes.
Oh, is that for me?
Yes.
Let's see if I can fit into it.
The centrepiece of this dish is a loin of pork, which has already been cooking in a water bath on a low heat for 6 hours. But what's really interesting about this dish is what goes with it. Squid stuffed with pig's blood pudding.
And Chef Leos, what is the inspiration behind this dish? Is it traditionally Hungarian or?
Az inspirációt azt a pióca vérrel ez adta. Egyébként az úgy működött, hogy a piócát berakták a csirkének a hóna alá, teleszívta magát vérrel, leesett, megabálták és hagymával megdinsztelték.
Right.
A csirke vérét pedig egy előre elkészített sertésvérrel.
So my Hungarian might be a little bit rusty, but what Chef is telling me is that the inspiration for this dish actually came from leeches, which were used in the olden days, you know, for medicinal reasons, and would suck the blood out of chicken and humans. And so the look of the calamari is inspired by leeches. So it's going to be that long white calamari stuffed with some black pudding. So it is a very traditional Hungarian dish. It's a very old one, which you wouldn't find very often anymore. Something that's sort of in the past that only few people remember. So it's okay to try it?
Ez good.
I expected it to be a lot more flavourful. It is quite salty.
Egy kevés só van benne.
It's a really unusual texture. It's a bit sort of jelly-ish and a bit sort of like a chocolate mousse in a way. But a firm chocolate mousse and a salty one.
Onions and peppers are fried in olive oil until soft, and then in goes the blood pudding.
So what next? We've got some lovely sweet paprika there.
Igen, de csak nagyon keveset teszünk bele.
So quite a lot, sort of tablespoonful. Ooh, it smells lovely. What are we going to do now then? Stuff it in the calamari?
Így van, csináljuk.
Yeah, okay, let's make a leech. You want to pack all of this in really tightly because we're going to slice it later. So don't be shy. It is a little bit delicate, isn't it? Because it's quite slippery. All the oils are oozing through and it's a little bit greasy and slimy. But
Még egyszer megismertetik, nem tudom.
yeah, it's satisfying. It feels good. But look at my chubby little leech. It must have had a field day on a couple of chickens, eh?
The calamari has been left to cool in the fridge before being sliced. I just love the way it looks like bone marrow. And then it's time to finish the dish. The slow-cooked port loin is crisped up on the hot plate, along with a stuffed calamari and a sliced pear. Leos plates up whilst I get comfortable upstairs in the restaurant.
Na, hát nézzük meg, mit főztünk.
Well, I am ready for this. Wow, this is delicious. I've stopped thinking about leeches. Now the pork. That pork is sensational. Remember that Chef sous vided it for 6 hours, so it literally is melting in my mouth, but it has that wonderful crust around it. It's got the lovely sort of crackling too. The fat around it is like a real sort of mousse. It's just melting away. Chef, thank you so much. I have loved this meal. I could eat this at least once a day. It's my kind of food. Thank you for sharing hungry secrets with me.
Egészségetek.
Cheers.
Now, any proper Hungarian meal ends with something sweet and buttery, preferably topped off with a large dollop of cream. Hungarians are seriously hardcore when it comes to dessert. I'm heading to Szabo, one of Budapest's oldest grand cafes, as I've been given an invitation I simply cannot refuse. Chef Zoltán has promised me a masterclass in the fine art of Hungarian chocolate desserts.
I'd love to try it, but... Okay. And how long does it take to set?
Quick.
Quite quickly,
Yeah,
okay.
so 2 minutes.
Okay, shall I have a go?
So, of course.
It's like crude oil. It's that thick and shiny, isn't it?
A chocolate ganache torte with macaroons is just an appetizer for Hungarians. Zoltán now wants me to try my hand at a serious dessert.
So this dessert is called a somlói.
Yes.
And this is a very traditional Hungarian
Yes, it
dessert
is.
and one of the top sellers here. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's supposed to look like. So if you talk me through it, let's see what I can do.
We have the chocolate sauce.
Yeah, more. Lots of chocolate.
Yes.
So this is supposed to be nice and even, is it?
Yes.
Is that getting better? No?
Very good. After the chocolate sauce,
Yeah.
we have 3 scoops of the somlói cake.
Somlói cake is a walnut sponge with vanilla cream.
So we
Yes.
have like a little
Very nice.
triangle of scoop.
Yes. Like this size.
Okay.
It's more than... Yeah. It's quite sleek. That's fine.
I did say the Hungarians like cream. And now the finishing touch to my cakey creation.
And after that, it's coming the chocolate. Not really on this way.
Oh, yes, of course. Here we have it, my own personal interpretation of the somlói, the Szabó's bestseller. Where is my apron? When do I start?
Still to come, there's a train to catch.
Vienna, here I come.
And I'm left shaken and stirred.
Hanky Panky cocktail.
Hanky panky. Oh, you are a one, aren't you?
And in Vienna, there's some shaking and baking to be done in a Schnitzel cook-off.
Sorry.
I'm on a gastronomic odyssey through Central Europe on the Venice Simplon Orient Express. My destination this morning is the Nyugati railway station in Budapest, as it's time to catch my train.
Well, I must say I'm rather sad to be leaving Budapest because I've quite fallen in love with it, but it's always good to leave wanting more.
But what a way to leave. This magnificent Belle Époque waiting room, the Royal Lounge as it's called, really sets the tone for what is undoubtedly the grandest train to travel through Europe. I join my fellow passengers as we prepare to board and say hello to the people looking after me on this journey.
Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Very good. Vienna, here I come.
The last few pieces of luggage are loaded and the train heads out to Budapest.
The journey between Budapest and Vienna is relatively short, and I know the kitchen is going to be absolutely frantic, so I've got a short time to go and get my hands dirty and see if I can help. I really want to see if I can learn something new.
As this is only a 3-hour journey, I'm not going to be eating lunch on the train today.
Un végé complet.
I'm saving myself to Vienna, but it would be rude not to sample a little of what French chef Christian Bodigal is rustling up for the other passengers.
Today we can prepare the shrimps
Yeah.
with soliles, with lobster sauce.
Shrimps with a lobster sauce.
And
That
you
sounds
can
divine.
flank with cognac.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, you can prepare.
I can do that for you. Anything for you. So I've seasoned the shrimps with a little bit of salt and pepper, now a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick to the pan.
Go, you can.
Okay, because that pan is really nice and hot
Yes.
now.
Good.
So I'm just going to take these shrimps and put them all in. It is about 188 degrees in here. We've just set off from Budapest to Vienna. Nice little bit of brandy. I like lots of alcohol, as you know. Lots of brandy. Is that enough?
Yes.
Oh!
Can I recommend not doing this at home?
A little tomato.
Just a little bit of tomato to maybe let the flames die down. So there's sort of concasse of tomato there, isn't it?
Hey, very good. Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Now look at that. And that is perfection.
Now we can taste.
Good. Let's taste together. What do you think?
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. You heard that?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Life on board feels very much like a family-run business. Most of the senior staff have worked on board for over a decade. Someone who's kept passengers entertained for 12 years now is head barman Walter.
Ciao, Walter.
I have a little surprise for him, though whether he likes it, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I had a great time in Budapest, and I found this liqueur, and I tried it, I loved it, and I thought of you. Have you ever tried it before? Smell it and see if you can see.
Let's see what I can do with that. I know it's very famous in Budapest, but I have an idea to make something from London.
From London?
Yes. The Hanky Panky cocktail.
Hanky Panky? Oh, you
Invented.
are a one, aren't you?
But today we call it Monkey Panky.
Monkey Panky.
So let's get the monkey first.
Monkey gin.
This is very, very characteristic gin. 47 elements. And then we touch of Italian thing, sweet vermouth.
Vermouth. So this is going to have a lot of herbs in. We've got how many? 47 from the monkey gin. And now 44 herbs from Budapest. Off you go. Well, I thought I was going to flummox you with this, but there is nothing you don't know, is there? You have like a cocktail for every single day.
Let's see if Walter's herbal remedy is the pick-me-up I need.
Mr. Jonathan, it's my pleasure to present you the monkey punky.
I feel the goodness from all of those herbs just running through my veins. I feel better by the minute, Walter.
Thank you very much. It's my
We all
pleasure.
need a Walter. I'm going to miss you.
In what seems like no time at all, we're pulling into Vienna's Westbahnhof station.
Oh, thank you for looking after me. It was as wonderful as ever.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hello, Vienna. Strudel and Schnitzel.
The Austrian capital is renowned for its coffee houses, grand palaces, and of course, Wiener Schnitzel, that flattened breaded deep-fried pork or veal speciality, which even has a national day of celebration. Though who knew it's only really been popular here since the late 19th century.
When you think of Vienna, you think of one dish, and that is, of course, the Wiener Schnitzel, one of my personal favourites. Rumour has it that the restaurant behind me, the Fiegelmüller, makes the best in Austria and therefore the best in the world. However, I've got a few of my own secret ingredients, and I'm going to play them at their own game and show them how it's really done.
I might have bitten off more than I can chew here. After all, these guys are a schnitzel powerhouse, but I do like a challenge. I'm meeting Herr Fiegelmüller, possibly the Archduke of Schnitzel, to find out more.
What is it about the house speciality that you do so well?
In Austria, we offer different types of schnitzel.
Yeah.
We are very famous for the Fiegelmüller Schnitzel. This is a very different style of schnitzel.
Okay.
It's a little bit larger than the others, a little bit thinner than the others, maybe also a little bit more crispy than the others.
However, I reckon I can take you on, and I'm going to show you my schnitzel, and let's see what you think of it.
Just follow me.
Show me the kitchen.
Schnitzel making here runs like a well-oiled, or should I say well-crumbed machine. Each stage of the process has its own station.
I love how organised it is, and every little element of the dish is all ready and waiting.
I can't help thinking it's a little bit industrial. What it needs is the Jonathan Phang home cooking touch.
But how many portions of Wiener Schnitzel do you tend to serve a day here?
In this restaurant, about 800 to 1,000 a day.
1,000 schnitzels a day? That is a lot of pounding of meat, isn't it? It must be really noisy in here.
For this Wiener Schnitzel cook-off, where international as well as personal reputations are at stake, I'm up against head chef Marcus.
So you're the man that makes the 800 to 1,000 Wiener Schnitzels a day. So no pressure. I've got the oldest family in town who's the most famous schnitzel maker, and your head chef who makes 1,000 of them a day. But I'm still going to show you how it's really done.
Let battle commence.
I'm doing it just like him. Then I'm going to start pounding my meat.
Your technique is quite good.
My technique is quite good. Did you hear that? Schnitzel boy is telling me that my technique is quite good. Oh, careful. Sorry.
Meat beaten, it's time to season.
So, I know that these Austrians don't know how to season. So I've got a secret ingredient here, which I brought all the way from Budapest with me, which is a little bit of paprika, that lovely homemade paprika from the farm. I think this is just going to liven it up a little bit.
Messing with a classic is always risky, but I'm a kitchen rule breaker.
What do you think about our Fiegelmüller Schnitzel? It looks like nice.
It looks nice, and it's certainly very large. But you know what? It's not just about size.
We will see after the pan. After we fry, we will see which schnitzel is better or not.
So my other little trick is I brought my own pan because I think those pans are quite deep that they use here.
Jonathan, everything okay?
Everything's all right at my end, Marcus. What about yours? You're triple frying it? That's a lot of oil. I've just got my butter melted in my oil. When you know the oil is hot, just sprinkle some breadcrumbs in and you can see it's ready to fry. So I'm now going to just put mine in. Look at that. Beautiful. You don't need to jiggle the pan a lot because you pounded the meat so it's flat and it's on one layer. So just leave it to cook. And then only about a minute on each side. Turn it over. Okay, that's a little bit brown. But I like my things crispy. Also, because I've got that lovely paprika in there, it's giving it a bit more golden colour.
And there we have it, the results of this international schnitzel-off.
The color is a little bit too... It's dark. Black is beautiful. What do you think?
I like crispy bits, you see. Yours looks beautiful, but it looks like it's been made in a factory.
But who cares what we think? Time for Herr Fiegelmüller himself to pass judgment on my attempt.
My tad.
Interesting creation.
But I can't compete with a family that's been making Wiener Schnitzel since 1905. So I thought I would just do something a little bit new. It's called the Pankster Schnitzel.
Let me try. Actually quite crispy.
Yes.
And it tastes well. It's a little bit fat.
That'll be the block of butter I fried it in, I guess.
May I have a try of ours?
Yeah, if you must.
I'm getting the distinct impression I won't be snatching the schnitzel crown.
I think I know which one we're gonna keep on our menu.
Well, Herr Fiegelmüller, old habits die hard. Thank you for letting me in the kitchen. It was a pleasure pounding meat with you and showing me the secrets of your schnitzel. Maybe next time I come here, there might be the Pankster Schnitzel on the menu alongside yours. You never know. Progress, boys, progress.
As dusk falls, I head off to the opera, or should I say a very famous sausage stand outside the opera.
The insider tip to the best street food in Vienna apparently is at this sausage stall. There's sausages all over this city, but I've heard the best Brudenheidel sausage is here right opposite the Opera House. So I'm going to go and give it a go.
It might look like your typical hot dog fare, but a glass of wine served with it is a good indication of what's to come.
Okie dokie. Onions, pickles?
Onion.
Onion.
Please. Those little pearl onions.
Okay, what's that?
Dankeschön. A local delicacy here in Vienna, the Brudenheidel. It really is a very tasty sausage. Oh. I've had wonderful food here.
But there's more to come. On my final day in Vienna, I get a lesson in how to cook cabbage, fine dining style.
Segediner Hummerkrautfleisch.
Segediner Hügerhügerfleisch.
And I find out how one of the world's greatest composers got his inspiration.
The winery is founded 1683. So Beethoven lived already in our building. So
Beethoven lived in this vineyard. Wow.
Now it would be almost impossible to come to Central Europe without encountering cabbage. However, I have to admit that I'm not crazy about the fermented variety, sauerkraut. But I have heard about a chef who takes this humble vegetable and does something rather wonderful with it.
Hi there.
And that chef is Christian Domschitz.
Lovely to meet you. And what an amazing restaurant.
His restaurant, Vestibule, is situated inside the grand entrance hall of the Burgtheater, the National Theatre of Austria.
it's 125 years old, this house.
Well, it's in a very, very impressive building and so historic. It's incredibly glamorous as well, isn't it?
If the dish is anything like the setting, I should be in for something very special.
Very nice kitchen.
That's a great kitchen, but I've never seen anything like that. That is so large.
This is the lobster.
How big must the lobster have been to have a claw that size?
5 kilos ago.
Dear me, I've never seen one that big. What are you going to cook for me today?
I cooked for you lobster with cabbage.
Right.
In German, we call Sägediner Hummerkrautfleisch.
Flesh.
Lobster with cabbage, then.
Now, what can I do to help you?
Yes. Take it. And now you cut slowly this, the inside. Okay.
It's easier to get round, isn't it? Mind you, you should watch your fingers with me around. And is this a recipe that you invented yourself, or is it based on a classic?
The recipe comes from a classic because in Hungary the Sägediner is with meat.
So is the recipe more Hungarian than it is Austrian?
More French style. The sauce is more French style.
Tail dealt with, time to crack open that monster claw.
This is a special.
It looks
hammer.
special.
No, it's special.
It looks dental.
It's for lobster.
So this is a main dish or a starter?
We have 3 size difference.
Don't beat around the bush with me. Let's just go straight to the family portion. Look at that. I could just dive straight into that. It's so succulent and juicy.
The shells go into a bag and are given a good bashing. These are then placed on a baking tray, which goes into the oven.
So the shells go in at quite a high heat, it's 213, for 4 hours to totally dehydrate. So all the moisture's going to come out and you're going to be left with these shells, which he's going to do something quite clever with, I think.
4 hours is quite a long time to be stuck in a hot kitchen, but just enough time to take in a few more sights, like the Wiener Prater or Public Park. Remember this from the classic film The Third Man?
Look. And dry. Look, it's very dry.
Very dry. But you know, that 4 hours just flew by for me, Christian. How was it for you?
The dry shell pieces have an intensified flavour. To release that flavour, a mixture of cognac and white wine is added. Then passata and just a small amount of butter.
Quite a lot of butter. This is going to taste delicious, I can tell.
And we say goodbye for 1 hour.
1 hour.
And whilst that simmers away, we get to grips with the less glamorous ingredient, cabbage.
This has been bubbling away for an hour, but the smell is so intense, isn't it? You can't smell much of the brandy anymore. It's faintly there, but it's a really beautiful lobster fragrance. Just strain that butter through.
Yeah.
Smells heavenly. So there's a lot that goes into your signature dish. No wonder people like it, because they're never going to make it at home, are they? They haven't got the time.
Some cream is added, because of course this dish isn't rich enough already. Which chef then tips over the cabbage, which seems like a bit of a waste to me after all that effort, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
It's almost an extravagant sauce to put on the cabbage, isn't it? But I suppose that's the element of the surprise.
With the cabbage now cooked, chef plates up the dish. This must be the most calorific cabbage dish ever created, but doesn't it look good? And finally, a dot of saffron oil completes the plate.
So look, this is the lobster with cabbage right here.
This restaurant has its own wine blended especially to complement this dish.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. What a great lesson you've given me. You've given me lots of inspiration.
Thank you very much.
When I've got the odd 4 days to spend, I'm going to make this dish at home. Can I dig in now?
Yes. Cabbage and lobster
Yeah.
in the same time.
You want a little bit of everything, yeah? Smells too good to eat, actually.
And what I love is
Sauce is quite bisque-like. And that lobster is amazing. I have never seen anything quite so monstrous out of a lobster. That's the biggest lobster I've ever seen, but boy, does he taste sweet. This is fantastic.
I'm not really one for long walks in the countryside, so when I heard that there are vineyards within Vienna city limits, I thought I must check one out. With its chalky soils, Meyer-Ampferplatz is renowned for its Rieslings. I'm going to have a look around with manager Paul Kiefer.
Paul, I had no idea that these vineyards were so close to Vienna. I mean, I can see the city just there. It's taken me about 15 minutes to get up here. We're really in a suburb, we're not in the country.
There are 700 hectares within the city border.
700 hectares within the city borders?
Yeah, which means it's the biggest capital in terms of wine growing area.
Wow. How old is this winery, the Meyer-Ampferplatz?
Yeah, the winery is founded in 1683.
Oh.
So Beethoven lived already in our building. So,
Beethoven lived in this vineyard, wow.
yeah, 1817, but only for 1 year. He was a quite difficult guy.
So he was kind of like highly strung, was he? But like the wine. Maybe it was the wine that made him difficult.
Yes, but definitely he loved already our wine.
And how many bottles a year does Meyer produce?
We're doing around 300,000 bottles.
300,000 bottles, okay.
And all are harvested within the city limits.
When is your sort of peak harvest here?
So the main harvest is between second week of September and second week of October. So we have 30 guys working in a vineyard, so we try to harvest them very carefully, and we do 100% hand-picked.
So it's all hand-picked?
Yes.
I mean, is this literally then you just go up and grab a bunch and pull them off, or?
Yeah, definitely, because if a machine is doing it, maybe you get also some leaves into the harvested grapes. But in this case, we can only harvest the very clean and very healthy fruits.
Paul, how long from harvest to bottle to I can try it?
It takes around 3 to 4 months, so I guess you have to come back.
I'm sure you must have a little bottle hiding away that I can try before then.
Yeah, of the previous vintage.
It all looks very picturesque until you get inside the winery itself.
Now, Paul, in the fields it was all sort of, you know, rustic and like a country day out with everyone picking grapes. And now we're in here, I feel like I've landed on the moon. It's a bit space age. What's going on in all of these vats?
Yeah, here these are our fermentation tanks. So we press the grapes and we ferment the juice, the grape juice here in these tanks.
Now listen carefully. Is that dance music I hear coming from the barrels?
I mean, not only does this place look a bit space age, Paul, it kind of sounds it to me. What's the noise? What's the music?
Yeah, we have here something special. So we have 2 tanks with the same wine. Here the pure natural Merlot, and here a second Merlot where we can influence the yeast by the sound waves, which means we're trying to get the sound waves into the wine and to reactivate the yeast in this tank. And the wine will be softer, more creamy.
That's amazing. I've never heard of anything like it. And where is the music being plugged into the vats? I mean, is it just around it or is it louder inside?
No, we put it, the box inside the tank, and we're playing around 24 hours this kind of music.
Paul, this is really interesting. I really want to know if it works, but now quite like a glass of wine. Can we go and try some?
Yeah, sure. Let's go into our wine tavern.
Okay, fantastic.
I think it would only be fitting to raise a glass to Beethoven and his inspiration, the grapes of Meyer-Ampferplatz, and try another of the composer's Viennese favourites.
finally, I'm getting around to a bit of strudel. So what is the secret to a really classic Viennese strudel?
Yeah, we have 3 different types of strudel.
Yeah.
Of course, the very famous Apfelstrudel, and then the cream cheese strudel or sweet cheese strudel, which is called Topfenstrudel.
Yeah.
And we have also some salty strudel like spinach strudel or asparagus strudel.
Not interested in that. I want the classic sweet one.
This is the right choice, and definitely you need a good glass of Viennese wine.
Paul, well, thank you so much for showing me around. It's been a real eye-opener and a pleasure.
Thanks to having you here.
Let's get another bottle of wine and another slice of strudel,
My Central European culinary tour is coming to an end.
Wow, this is delicious.
I've done timeless classic dining
And that lobster is amazing.
in a style which complements my mode of transport perfectly.
Fantastic.
It just goes to show that sometimes the old favourites really are the best.